So my name is Arjan Verdooren. I work for the Royal Tropical Institute in Amsterdam, which is a knowledge center for international and intercultural cooperation. And I'm an author, a lecturer, and a consultant in the field of intercultural communication. And I was here to deliver a workshop called Cultures Don't Meet, People Do. And it was about intercultural communication. But what I was talking about is that I feel that it's a field that needs to change. Because the way that we tended to think about culture comes from a quite old anthropological concept that emphasized that people were members of different cultures that were equal, rather than, as they thought during colonialism, that needed to be civilized and didn't have enough culture. And I think that was helpful, but I think today we live in a world that's so much more complex, it's so much more interconnected. Cultures have become so diverse among themselves that it's very difficult to predict people's behavior and just understand people's behavior merely based on the ethnic or national group that they're part of. So because things have become so complex, we need to first of all acknowledge this complexity of people's identities, of people's cultures, and assume that when they interact, it's not their cultures that are interacting, but individual members of that culture, in other words, people. And when we take that as a starting point, we see all kinds of different interventions, because you can't change a culture, but you can talk to a person and you can ask them what's important for them. You can ask them what they value. You can ask them why they behave in a certain way and make certain choices. And you can start to negotiate. You can learn from each other. You can revise. You can expand your understanding. And the opportunities for intervention are much, much bigger than just adapting to the other person or demanding that they adapt to you, which is what we used to think in the old paradigm. So what's interesting in this conference, we've been talking a lot about complexity, and I think that's very relevant here as well, that we understand the complexity of people's backgrounds and people's identities, but at the same time it makes things surprisingly simple, that once we accept that complexity and realize that there's never one identity or never one culture that completely defines someone, and that everyone, in the end of the day, makes some of their own choices and has their own life histories and their own personalities, it makes interactions actually in a way easier, because we don't have this strong burden of always adapting or asking others to adapt.